Thanks everybody for joining us on our discussion about Endpoint Dlp. We also have on the phone Matt Soseman.
Hello everyone, my name is Matt Soseman. I'm a security architect at Microsoft. I work with our partners like Patriot to help them take our Microsoft security compliance and identity products out to our joint customers like yourself and help you be successful.
Today we're really going to be talking primarily about Endpoint Dlp, what it is. We'll do a live demo, then we'll move into the admin experience, talking about how you can get it up and running for you.
So this is a great visual of what Microsoft information protection looks like. I just want to give you a visual here of where it sits in the family and how to think about Endpoint Dlp in relation to the other Microsoft information protection capabilities.
So at that, let's hop into the live demo of the product, and we'll show you what it looks like from an end user experience. And so here we have sample data that we're working with. In this case, I have quite a bit of credit cards in here, a lot of customer information that it's not approved to really share this outside of our organization. We could be using sensitivity labels and add it in there. And tagging some of those docs, but in this case, I'm not doing any of that with this document. Just a simple doc that I'm in here, and then I'm taking it and maybe I didn't realize it was in here, or maybe I'm trying to exfiltrate our company's data. But since I have this deployed, I can come into this and begin trying to exfiltrate the company data or using it in an inappropriate location, right? And as I'm doing that, the solution detects that, hey, yep, you're trying to upload this to the wrong site. And it will block me or allow me to override. So pretty cool user experience here, very lightweight, hit on this. And we can configure this. So we can give the options of, do we want to allow override or do we just want to block, right? So it's optional for us. And this is the web experience. We can also block it when we begin transferring data to maybe a USB, right? Because I have a USB, and if you don't have approved devices or someone who tries to transfer to a non-approved device, you can come in here and basically stop them from doing this, right? You can come in and see the alert of all of this type of stuff in here. The other interesting thing is we can also provide or require user justification. So for certain types of data loss, we can prevent the user, but I'll maybe allow them to override and put in a business justification. So we can come in here and say, oh, my manager has approved this, and we can hit allow, and then we're justified now to bring this over to the document, right? And we can transfer that out, right? So it's a nice, easy user experience there, and we can attack it a couple different ways. So we can move this into block mode immediately and have it hit to block the solution from uploading that content, or we can do an audit only mode, which I appreciate from an admin, because it lets us really see kind of the end user, what they're doing beforehand before we move into it. So pretty cool options here available and pretty easy to do. The meat and potatoes is really going to be the configuration and deployment. So let me show you what that looks like. So in here, the place that we're going to do most all of this configuration is going to be in the compliance center. And from an admin experience, the really kind of the area that we're going to look at a lot of this data and look at a lot of this transfers is going to be in this activity explorer in the compliance center. This gives us great access into all of the behaviors that the end users are doing. All right, and so here I can see what my end users are doing with my data, how they're interacting with files on their computer, where they're uploading it, where they're transferring it to. As it's starting to get load, you're able to see really quickly kind of some dashboards of activity that the end users are doing in this org, right? So high level, we can see reports of files that have been copied to cloud, files created, modified, read, discovered, copied to removable drives, and we're able to filter on all of these items. So here I can see quickly files copied to cloud. I can look at what was happening on this. So the user uploaded to, in this case, dlptest.com, a file named AIP labeled doc. And so this was part of the testing. And here I can see, if you're using sensitivity labels, the data that, the label that it has. And then if there was any sensitive data types associated with it, it would show in here. In this case, there's just this all data type tag, which is a test data type that I was doing for, tagging basically everything in an org. But here I can see some other alerts that I've come through, right? So in this case, this one actually hit on an alert. So in this place, it hit on my Endpoint Dlp Alert and my DLP policy rule here. So let's go take a look at what this is and what was uploaded. So in this case, again, file was copied to a cloud location and an enforcement was a warn. So I told the user they were doing something inappropriate, but I didn't necessarily block them. So the target domain in this case was dlptest.com, and here is the file. If I want to look at what the data is in the file or the sensitive info type that hit on it, I'm able to click on that and pivot over to this and see, okay, what was in this file? It looks like we have some credit cards that matched on a high confidence and some social security numbers that matched on a high confidence. And so because of that, that's why this file came into policy hit. And if I go and open up those files for you, we, like I showed earlier, we can see that item in there. And so this is a very nice way to introduce this to your environment and get visibility into what's going on, what's the data, what are the end user's behavior. Do you have an issue that you need to go create a policy on? So you can audit all of this before moving into kind of a block mode.
So Doug, just out of curiosity, when would I want to use Activity Explorer versus Content Explorer, kind of in the context of Endpoint DLP? Any scenarios of when that might be extremely useful for me?
Yeah, Activity Explorer is really when I use Endpoint DLP or any of the DLP actions that the end user is taking. This will show you, hey, look, file was shared here. It hit on not only an Endpoint DLP alert, but holistically, email DLP alert. Content Explorer is really in the know your data phase from Microsoft. So Microsoft's kind of approach to MIP, how they want you to do it is, or how they suggest tackling, moving into data compliance, is knowing what data is out there and where it's stored in your organization. So Content Explorer is all about coming in and saying, do I have credit cards stored in my organization, and where is that location? So in this case, I have credit cards stored in maybe OneDrive, and I can drill down into the user's OneDrive and see, looks like Doug has some credit cards and Jeff has some credit cards. Or, maybe we're storing a lot of stuff in SharePoint, right? Let me drill into the team site of this and I can see, clearly finance is storing some credit cards. And because I have permission to this and I'm the compliance administrator, I can actually come up and look at, the source of the file. Luckily, this file is AIP protected, and so I actually can't open it directly in here. And so you can see I have an AIP encryption label on it, and so I need to drill into it. But if the file wasn't properly encrypted, I could open it up in this file explorer and then view it and say, hey, look, we have credit cards in here. We need to get them encrypted for AIP if that's in your policy, and take a look at it.